dust that collected not only on the suits, face shields, but it was also brought into the vehicle itself, the lunar lander. It was one of the issues or things that we like to mitigate as much as possible is a foreign object debris or FOD, and it's extremely dangerous if it gets into both mechanical and electrical systems. On the suits, it got to the point where the joints were actually failing, degrading the capability and performance of the suit. It's becoming a risk, a life risk. The other issue is that it has the ability to create electrostatic charge. So you have potential for electromagnetic interference with other electrical systems. So it becomes imperative that we address the dust issue. And what we ended up coming up with is a transparent indium. Think of this as on your cell phone. It's the clear plate. And in this is parallel interdigitated. A better example, you can actually see it. Well, if you like to actually see it, share it. And this is essentially electronic current, if you will. It's a wave. We throw out 20 milliwatt power, and it's a pulse that essentially shakes off the dust. Okay. This is copper as an example. It's a larger sample. See, it's flexible, and it can go on different substrate surfaces. We're even experimenting with astronaut material to the suits themselves.
Does it resonate, or is it just what it's creating pulse?
It's the current itself. So
okay,
the current. So it's such a low level. Let me give an example here. This is JSC1A sample. So what I'm going to do is just sprinkle this on this cap on here. Now I haven't turned the power on yet, so you can see dust is collecting. And all we'll do is just basically turn it on, and it'll dissipate it. So since it's so low on power, we can leave it currently on and simply just allow it to do its thing. So the applications are pretty good in terms of not just in space or even terrestrial here too. The idea is for solar panels to suits to even the vehicle surface, vehicle walls, if you will, themselves. But this is an example of how we use the JC or the basalt as a sample, and the general idea here is a heat shield. So as you can see, we use the Ames arc jet for testing, and it's an ablative process. So as you enter, let's say Mars, the Martian atmosphere, it's going to essentially peel away or blow away, or inflation is going to process is going to take effect. It can work quite well. This is actually the actual sample that we use. We also have some heat sensors for testing, and it worked very well. So going back to what I said before about space travel not being a camping trip anymore, so we have to live off the land. If we were to try to have a heat shield, so to speak, for a very large spacecraft, as an example, going into Mars, it would be very expensive for us to bring that with us. So the idea is let's create that shield on the planetary body of, let's say, the moon. Launch from the moon and then go on from there. So what we ended up coming up with was an ablative process. One of the other problems with deep space travel is also radiation. It's also been discussed or kicked around that perhaps if we hermetically seal or create like a graphene-based heat shield, perhaps maybe insulate it with water as an example, that could actually be another way of mitigating against radiation for the health of the astronaut. So, and you can see how it links the chains together in terms of a common focus for space. As the day goes on, throughout the 24 hours, your body chemistry changes, your temperature changes, And if you're on the space station, you can imagine as we're rotating for several times, your body clock is going to really be whacked out, so to speak. So this is one project that we worked for station. Now, let me get creative here. Let's go low TRL. So we took that technology, and I said before, we worked with other corporate partners, and we came across a company that was pretty successful with creating what we would call Wi-Fi, or intelligent data light. You can imagine, instead of Wi-Fi, using the lumens within the light, like lighting, to pulsate, or transfer, transmit data. So that data could be in the form, of course, of voice, could be in visual. So this is where we're experimenting with that right now. Dr. Holbert, when we first met with John Peterson, this is LVX system. I think it's actually here local too. We were astounded at the plane. We were, you have to know Dr. Eric. He's very skeptical. He's a character to me. After the first couple of meetings, his skepticism went away and the light went on. He says, I know how to do it. I think I know how to do it. So he went off and created it. Sure enough, he was able to emulate what they were able to do in terms of, I guess, several patents they have on it right now. Oh, thanks. Perfect. So what we're doing now is we're working with LVX. Like I said before, when Eric was able to do that, I didn't tell you this part, John Peterson, he was a little angry, but also very impressed. So that kind of led us into partnering. We're doing reflective analysis and testing right now. So this could be, again, a very secure form of communication. It can help us with our robotic system communication. We feel it has a very strong potential to get into facial recognition and to other commercial applications. Heat sensing is a good example too. I was thrown out there that perhaps maybe in a hospital bed, instead of having the IVs and such, you can have the light sensing your temperatures and your vitals. So it has a lot of